Hello, this is Alex from Lincoln Park Library, and today's How To Tuesday is how to make yarn penguins out of yarn and felt. So for materials that you will need black and white yarn, a pair of scissors, some googly eyes, orange, black, and then another color of felt, as well as hot glue. So for step 1, you will need to cut a piece of white yarn that's approximately 8 inches in length. And then once you do that, you will set that piece aside because you'll need it later. So for step 2, to create the penguin body, you're first going to start with the white yarn, and you were going to wrap that around 4 of your fingers 30 times, and do it kind of loosely, not too tight. Kind of keep your fingers gapped as well, don't keep them too tight together. And then you'll do the same for the black yarn, except you're going to do that 40 times, and you'll do that right next to the white yarn that you wrapped around 30 times. So you'll have a little bit more of the black yarn. So once you wrap both of those yarns around your fingers, you're going to move on to step 3. So using that piece of yarn that was set aside, that the 8-inch white yarn, you are going to wrap it around the middle of both the black and the white yarn, and you're going to tie it tightly with a knot. So you can see that this is the front where I tied my knot, and then that's the back. So you're going to tie it around both the white and the black yarn that you had wrapped around your hand. So this can be a little tricky. I was able to maneuver it by myself, but it also might be helpful to have someone else either tie that yarn around the two or just to hold the white and the black yarn together so it doesn't fall apart. So it might be helpful to have somebody else assist you with that. For step 4, you're pretty much repeating those steps over again. So what you want to do is take another 8-inch piece of white yarn, cut that, set it aside, and then repeat the other steps as well, with some exceptions. So the white yarn, you're going to wrap that around 2 fingers 25 times. And then the black yarn, same thing, you're going to wrap it right next to the white yarn, and those same 2 fingers 40 times. So this is a little different because you're making the penguin's head, which will be a little bit smaller than its body. Once you complete that step, you will take that 8-inch piece of white yarn again, you will slip these 2 off of your fingers, and you will tie a knot tightly around both of those, similar to what you did for the penguin's body as well. So if you need help with that, you can always ask someone to either tie it or to hold those 2 together. And then step 5, using scissors, you are going to cut all of the loops of both yarn balls, and you want to cut the yarn until it becomes circular in shape. So don't be alarmed if the pom-poms look crazy at first once you start cutting those loops, because they're going to be very long and it's not going to look anything like a penguin at all. So you'll need to cut a lot of the yarn off. I would say most of the yarn is probably going to go in the garbage. So don't be alarmed. Just keep cutting and keep cutting until you see the yarn start to become more circular in shape. You can see that this bigger one right here, this bigger pom-pom, will be the penguin's body, and then the smaller one on the bottom will be the head. So just keep trimming the yarn until you get those 2 circular pom-poms, and they're the size and the shape that you want. So for step 6, this is when you'll be using your hot glue gun. So using hot glue, you want to attach the penguin's head to the body. So it's really important that you add a lot of glue here, just because when you put only a little bit of glue, it doesn't stick to all of the pieces of yarn. Since there's a lot of different pieces going a lot of different ways, the more glue that you put on here, the better. And then you also want to make sure that the white yarn on both of the pom-poms line up correctly. As you can see here, there's like no black line here from the black yarn. You can see that it started to form the body and the head of the penguin. So step 7 is when you start to play around with the felt pieces. So what I did, I cut out a heart shape from the orange felt for the feet, and I hot glued it to the bottom of the penguin. I then also cut out a small triangle from the orange felt for a beak and glued that on, you can see here. I also then cut out 2 ovals from the black felt for the wings and glued those on. Right here you can see here's one, here's the other. And then using that third color, whatever color that may be, you know, you might want to use black or orange, that's fine, but I wanted to use a different color, so I used pink. So I cut out a thin, long rectangle from the pink felt for the scarf. And then I cut, you can see here, I cut some lines at the end of the scarf for kind of like a fringe. And then I also added some hot glue. I put some on the penguin's body for this side. And then once I wrapped it around, I added some more glue here and then some more glue here. And again, like I said before with the penguin's body, the more glue that you add to this, the better, just because there are so many yarn pieces. It's better to add more glue so that it sticks more firmly together. And then step 8, you'll also want to glue on your eyeballs. So here I have 2 small googly eyes that I hot glued on. And then your penguin is complete. So this project, it shouldn't take long at all. It's relatively quick. I think kids would really enjoy making these. You can make a whole bunch of different penguins with different color scarves. You can also do different sizes as well. So if you wanted to make a bigger penguin, when you're wrapping the black and white yarn around your hand, you would, instead of, 30 times wrapping the white around, you might do 50 times and then 60 times for the black yarn. So you can adjust that however you want for the size that you want. But the penguin that I made here using these instructions is about maybe like 3-4 inches tall. If you want to see the example, I actually have it on my desk in our satellite location, so feel free to stop by. And again, if you ever have any questions at all, feel free to contact me and I'd love to help you. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.